Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka The Weather Gamer, bringing you the Week 2 standings, transactions, and kill leaders for WWC, the league I run in my Discord server with a bunch of my Discord friends. Again, no face cam just because it gets in the way, no music this time because I watched the previous video and I didn't really care having the music in the background. I'd rather just have it quiet with me talking and going over several things. Hopefully you guys enjoy it this way. If not, I'll try going back the other way. I'm playing around with it. There should be a thumbnail, so that's improvement. We're slowly becoming a little bit more professional. So to start things off, we'll kick it off with the standings. Again, going from worst record in the league to best record in the league. Starting in 12th, the West Texas Leafeons, 0-2, -8 differential. They unfortunately are the victims of our first 6-0 of the season. They were playing Fizzle the Hizzle and the Tampa Bay Weasels and basically got wrecked by Mega Salamence using a combination of Double Edge and Roost. The Leafeons did not have a flying type resist and were pretty easily picked off. Really tough match, really sad to see that happen to Momanish, coach of the West Texas Leafeons. She's a great friend to have in the Discord and a great person, and I'm really glad she's able to join us in the league. Just unfortunate that Mega Salamence ran through her team, and the fact that she forgot that Tapu Lele's ability, which sets up Psychic Terrain, prevents priority moves. Other than that, it was not a good match. I've personally, myself, been 6-0'd by Fizzle. I know how it goes. All I can say is just bounce back and keep having fun. Moving on to 11th, Louisiana Luxrays, and Coach Cheshire the Cat. 0-2, -7. Really not much in that match to basically stop. Coco Lucha came, and basically once Coco Lucha came in, it clean shot. Did manage to pick off a couple kills, but an unfortunate freeze on Mega Garchomp basically took that monster out of the book, or out of play, and after that, there was just not enough to outspeed or outlast Coco Lucha. Regular Sceptile did come in on Lucha. I'm assuming it was probably Unburden Electric Seed as well. However, I don't believe sorry about the pop there, I just leaned back in my chair. I don't believe that would have been enough to outspeed Lucha, and unfortunately Coco Lucha just basically ran through this team. Coming in 10th, that's a different team. The Ottawa Centrets, Coach Spare. Very, very good game played by Spare against the Dragonites. Very close game. And I actually thought that Spare had this game in the bag. The Centrets were in prime position, but unfortunately a Spadef drop on the Magearna prevented it from staying in and taking another Shadow Ball and retaliating with its own Shadow Ball to kill Reuniclus and Trick Room. That unfortunately sealed the deal because it basically allowed Infernape to clean at that point. Very good first match. This was the first time I'd seen Spare battle. I'm looking forward to facing him later in the season. Very good coach, a very good battler. Very interesting sets. Bringing a Calm Mind stored powered Mega Latios. Very, very interesting. Not something you see every day. And to be honest, if that's how most of his sets are going to be, it's going to be very difficult to team build, and the Centrets could make their way into playoffs off some very wild and crazy sets. Moving on into 9th place, the Chicago Claunchers, 0-2, -4. The Claunchers played me this week in the Chicago Bearticks. The match has already gone up, so you're not going to spend too much time talking about it. Most people have seen how that goes. All in all, the Claunchers have put in two very good performances, two very, very tight, close games. They could easily be sitting 2-0 plus 4 instead of 0-2 minus 4 if a few breaks go their way, and a couple changes to the moveset. The Claunchers have a very good team at the beginning of the season when the draft ended. To be perfectly honest, I didn't think the Claunchers had that great of a team. They had some threats, but their team balance was not very good. Their chemistry between Mons was not very good. They didn't have a lot of coverage in my mind. However, they've surprised me. They've gone up against one of the best battlers last week in the Cacturns, and they've gone up against me with some experience. The Penguins coach, the Claunchers coach, Little Penguin, is actually relatively new to Draft League, and so to put up as good of a fight as they have has really impressed me, and they are just like a few quick hits away from being on the opposite side of this deficit. So be interesting to see how the Claunchers evolve. The more experience they get, the better they get, and see maybe they make a late push at the end of the season to jump into playoffs as another team potentially slides out. Coming into 8th place, we've got the Chicago Bearticks and myself. Was able to pull out that win against the Claunchers. Still at a negative differential, and basically just need to keep that train rolling. We'll see how it goes moving forward. Coming into 7th, big drop off from being tied for 2nd down into 7th, like Lofton and Lichen Rocks. Their match they had fairly well set up against Matthias and the Cacturns. However, just worn down, and Choice, I'm pretty sure it was banded this week. Might have been scarfed, I don't remember off the top of my head. Is doing the calcs again. I'm pretty sure it was a Choice banded Victini this week. Basically punched holes through the Lichen Rocks. There wasn't much in the way they could do as far as switches go, and unfortunately Victini just cleaned up. It was a 3-0 loss, so they're 1-0 plus 3 to a 1-1 neutral. Neutral's not bad. They're sitting in 7th. They're one spot out of playoffs. It is only week 2, but hey, playoffs are always something to think about. And they are right on the cusp of getting in there. If they get a couple of good swings, get back on the roll, and start winning some more, definitely could see them kicking one of the top 6 teams out to make a spot in playoffs. Surrounding into our top 6, the top half of the league, we have the NB Garchomps, 1-1 plus 2, sitting in 6th place. They got a 4-0 against the Louisiana Lux Rays, just Coco Lucha. We knew at the beginning of the season Coco Lucha was going to put in work. It was a big threat, and it proved to be a big threat. Coco Lucha came in and cleaned up. The Murkrows losing after having a very bulky, easy 5-0 win because the opponent's coach, not going to say who, aka me, forgot to min speed his Escavalier and got beat by a set-up Cofagrigus. Oh, how I hate that mon now, and oh, how I've never been so salty about checking my Ives ever since. I'm going to always double-check that now. So thank you, Savage, for reminding me to check that every time. They played a very, very close game against the Dutch Pyroars, and honestly, it could have gone either way. Unfortunately, Darmanitan for the Pyroars comes in, starts punching holes, takes out Necrozma, which was really the only check left for a Nidoqueen sweep, and once that went down, Nidoqueen comes in and basically cleans up the rest of the game. So they drop. They're still 1-1 plus 3 differential, keeping them in the 5th position after being in 1st. So a little bit of backslide. Now we come to a log jam for 2nd place. We have 3 teams tied for second place. So I'm going to jump off of this page and into the next one. But we have the OS. I'm sorry, Pokemon Champion. I know they're supposed to be called the OS Dragonites. I'm going to call them OSS just because that's how I remember it. And I personally think calling them the OSS Dragonites sounds cooler because it makes it feel, it's like with the NB Garchomps. It makes it seem cooler in my mind. You're fully welcome to disagree with me, and if you are extremely opposed to it, I will not call them the OSS Dragonites anymore, but I like calling the Dragonites the OSS Dragonites. It just seems like OSS stands for something extremely cool. So we have the Dragonites, the Dutch Pyroars, and the Cacturns all tied for second at 2-0 plus 4. Funny side story, and again, if Torn and Pokemon Champion aren't happy about me saying this, I apologize in advance, but I'm going to say it anyways. The really funny thing is the coach of the Pyroars, SV Tornado, and the coach of the OSS Dragonites, Pokemon Champion 323, are actually siblings. So the fact that they're tied for second is just hilarious to me because, I mean, I have a younger brother. I know how sibling rivalries go. You want to beat the other one and prove you're the best and show, hey, I'm the better. Yeah. How siblings usually go at it. So I just think it's really funny that both are trying to outdo the other and they're just sitting there tied. And to be perfectly honest, they don't play until the last week of the season. If they stayed tied all the way till the end of the season, I think that would be hilarious, and I would potentially live stream that match just for the giggles of seeing them tied all the way to the end. That would just be amazing in my mind. It's not going to happen, but I think it's funny, and I think it would be funny. The Pyroars beat the Murkrows. Again, Nidoqueen coming in, just slamming at the end after Darmanitan punches holes through the bulk. The Dragonites playing the Sentrets. Again, a Spadef drop on the Magearna basically protected the Dragonites from losing that game. I know Scarf Ape outside of Trick Room cleaned, but had the Spadef drop not occurred, I'm pretty sure that Reuniclus does not survive the Shadow Ball from Magearna. Magearna gets the +1 Soul Heart in the last turn of Trick Room. Infernape cannot kill Magearna with Trick Room up, even with a priority move at the range it was at, as far as I know from doing calcs. And Magearna Moon Blasts Infernape to pieces. So I'm not going to say that hacks were the reason that game came out to be the way it was. It was well played on both parts by both teams. Both teams prepped very well. It's just really interesting to see how that game played out, and if a rematch happens in playoffs, I'm sure it's going to be a very good match as well. The Cacturns pulling off a 2-0 win against the Lycanrocs. Again, I think there's something messed up in my thing here while I'm thinking about this. Sorry again, I wish I had editing software that was cheap. I think there might be a mistake here. And I gotta check this. Cacturns win 2-0. Did the Lycanrocs... Why do the Lycanrocs have a 0? Ah, okay. The Lycanrocs messed with the formula of the yeah, the Lycanrocs messed with the sheet, or somebody messed with their sheet, because they actually are 1-1 +1, not 1-1 0. Okay, so that actually makes more sense now. Let's go back to the Cacturns page while I'm thinking about it. 2, 2, 4. Okay, yeah, so they're correct. Okay, so that actually doesn't matter. Cacturns are still 2-0. The Lycanrocs had a mistake on their dock that I just caught and fixed, so they're actually 1-1-1. And finally, moving into first place, Tampa Bay Weasels +9 on the back of Mega Salamence 6-0. Victory over the West Texas Leafeons. I knew the Weasels were going to end up in first place at some point until somebody powerhouses them down. It's going to be very interesting to see where the Weasels end with Fizzle. He's a great coach. He's a smart coach. He's got a very scary team. And all in all, it's going to be very interesting to see where the Weasels end. But for right now, they're sitting at first. Hopefully, as the season goes on, we get some of these log jams for like second place to break apart a little bit. Otherwise, if they're all tied again at the end of this week, I'm going to be scratching my head a little bit. So moving into our kill leaders after this week. Mega Salamence is still sitting there at 1 with a 9-0 kill death ratio +9 differential. Victini and Cofagrigus actually switched. Victini picking up a boatload of kills this week. Just absolutely destroying teams again. Is now 7-0 kill death ratio +7. Victini is coming for the Salamence. So Salamence better be watching over its shoulder because Victini's on a hot streak and ready to roll. Cofagrigus is still sitting there. It didn't come this week. That's why Victini was able to pass by it. Still sitting at 5. The Dragonites with Infernape. Infernape was a monster in its game, picking up 3 kills, I believe, to bring it into 4th. And now we got another log jam between the Lycanrocs and the Dutch Pyroars. We see both the King and the Queen, as well as Darmanitan and Magnezone, all sitting at 4 kills, 1 death apiece, and +3 differential. Nidoqueen and Darmanitan punched holes through the Murkrows, and the Nidoking and Magnezone are still riding the previous week's high to keep them up there. We have new contender here in 9th position. Latios picking up a few kills to get it to 4 kills, 2 deaths, +2, taking it to 9th place. And Mamoswine just barely staying in the top 10 this week. 10th position with 3 kills, 1 death, keeping it at a +2 differential. I believe Suicune was right behind it. All in all, looking at this week's kill leaderboard, Victini expected, Weasels with their Salamence expected, Infernape to be up in 4th was a little surprising for me. I expect it to stay in the top 10 potentially, but the fact that it's all the way up in 4th, as well as Cofagrigus being up in 3rd, were surprising. The fact that Latios is in the top 10 really surprised me. Latios to me is more of a defensive mon. It's more known for being defensive. So the fact that it's still sitting, or that it made it into the top 10, it just shows that I might be wrong and that it's got great utility. Some mons that aren't in the top... Sorry for the hiccups there. Some mons that aren't in the top 10 kill leaders that surprise me. Aegislash. That thing's a monster. I don't understand why it's banned if it's not going to be in the tops of the kill leaders. That thing should be punching holes through teams. And it's not. I don't know if it's the way that the Pyroars are using it, or if it just has had bad matchups to start the season. But I really expected Aegislash to be in there. Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele is not in the top 10. That thing also has been a nightmare in previous leagues, and I've seen it banned. Again, same as Aegislash. If it's going to be banned, why isn't it up here. Granted, it's on the same team as Mega Salamence, so the kills are basically going to go to Salamence in my mind. Apologies again. So, I can see why Lele's not up there. Mega Garchomp. I know it's a monster. I would have thought it might have crept into 10th. Again, it might just be the way it's being used. I know in another league that I'm a part of, Mega Garchomp is actually the kill leader. Zeraora. Again, I only brought it 1 week so far, but it picked up 2 kills this week. So I fully expect as long as Zeraora has good matches and continues to come, Zeraora should end up in the top 10 for kill leaders as well. It's fast, it's physical, and it just runs like a train. Landorus. Lando T has not come to a single game for the Centrets. I fully expected Lando T to potentially be in the top 10. Tapu Koko, also not in the top 10. Another very good Mon that potentially could have been in the top 10. Same with Hawlucha, another very good Mon that's not in the top 10 that potentially could be in the top 10. Mega Kangaskong, another Mon that's very good. Not in the top 10 this week. It was last week, but it fell off this week. What else? Kyurem Black, not in the top kills. Another very big, heavy-hitting Mon that potentially could have been there. It actually hasn't made a play this season for either of its 2 weeks. Mew, another great Mon that hits hard. Mew hasn't come into the kill leader board yet. And regular Garchomp, again, another monster, hasn't hit the kill leader board. Mega Lopunny fell off. It's normally a very good Mon. Just some surprises that aren't there. So to wrap this up, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the transactions. To start us off, the NB Garchomps dropping Hawlucha for Terrakion. Koko Lucha is officially dead. So, I know the reason behind this when talking to Damien, the coach of the Garchomps. He didn't want everyone to be prepping for Koko Lucha every week. He just felt like it was too predictable. He wanted to change it up, and so he picks up Terrakion. Choice Band Terrakion punches holes. It runs through teams. It's a very good Mon. Knockoff gives it +1 attack, so even if you knock off its Choice Band, you're now +1 attacking instead. So, I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think Koko Lucha was perfectly fine. Didn't need to be changed, but, it's Damien's team, and if he wants to run something different, perfectly fine. I don't really care for Koko Lucha myself, but I know it does work. Moving on to the next team, Chicago Beartics, myself. So, to be perfectly honest, I really wish I hadn't drafted a Rain team. I've run Rain in every league but one that I've been a part of. It's kind of been my bread and butter. It's been my go-to. It's been something really easy for me to run, and I know how it works. And to be perfectly honest, it's become kind of boring, and I just don't feel like it's fun running the Rain, so I'm trying to change out of the Rain in the season. I know I won't be running Rain next season, and I actually gave up on the Slush team after 1 week by dropping Beartic last week. So this week I dropped Goodra for Latios and dropped Kingdra for Trevenant. Goodra, the whole reason I drafted it, hydration, so I could rest and just hit hard and then rest off the damage. Hit hard, rest off the damage. It's a good Mon. It does work. It's just not the Mon for me. Latios didn't get drafted. I thought that was a mistake to not have Latios drafted. That thing hits so hard. It's hyper offensive. It fits my playing style, I think, a little better. and it gives me a psychic type, something that I was sorely missing on the team. It also gives me back a dragon type since I dropped both my dragons this week, so I don't lose my dragon type to punch through other dragons as well. Kingdra, I never thought was going to come. I just had it as a special wall breaker in case I needed it. Looking at matches, just didn't care for it, didn't like the matchups. That was a pre-draft stream switch I made from Espeon. I kind of wish I still had Espeon, but at the same time, Espeon probably wouldn't have stuck around either. So, dropping it along with Goodra gave me enough points to grab Latios, and then I had to go pick out of the Tier 5 bin, which I really struggled picking out of the Tier 5 bin. Most of the good Tier 5s have been pulled, either through the draft or free agency. So I kind of just picked in the bottom of the barrel and looked for something. I'm trying to get rid of my Roserade. I'm trying to trade it out. I don't really care for it. The whole thing with Roserade, I had this plan at the beginning of the draft. I wanted T-Spikes. I wanted Technician-powered Hidden Power. And Roserade just doesn't look good to me now. 2 weeks in, I haven't brought it. I don't have any plans to bring it for my Week 3 match. So I was like, okay, let's pick up a grass type. Yes, it's another ghost type in Trevant, but Frisk, I can start getting information on items. Harvest, I can give it a berry and just harvest berries. Shadow Sneaking, Shadow Claw, Woodhammer, Horn Leech. It's got coverage, it's got recovery, it can hit hard, it can do some stuff that Roselia can't, and I think, again, being a bit more of an offensive mon, with having the ability to recover item, or recover its berry, it fits more for me. So that's where I went with my team for this week. I've got one transaction left, as do the Garchomps for the season. I don't know where I'm going to go with that yet. Right now I'm going to hold on to it for as long as I can. Finally, the last set of free agent moves we had were the Dutch Pyroars. They made some massive changes to their team, dropping Tapu Bulu for Tapu Fini, dropping Mega Gardevoir for Mega Medicham, and dropping Heracross for Shaman. Fini is a more offensive, it's also bulky, keeps the fairy type that the Pyroars would be losing in Gardevoir. Mega Medicham, another very offensive mon, picking up the Psychic type that was missing, as well as the Fighting type from Heracross. And finally Shaman, picking up the Grass type from Tapu Bulu being dropped. Shaman also is bulky and provides some defense as well. All in all, 3 rather interesting swaps. I personally think that keeping the Gardevoir would have been better, but when I was talking to Torn, he really wanted to make a Medicham for its offensive threat and presence, so he had to get rid of Mega Gardevoir. So, that pretty much is his thoughts on that. Sorry, my voice is starting to crack. This is actually my 3rd video I'm recording tonight, so I need to get a drink and then I'll be better. But that's going to wrap it up for our Week 2 transactions. Week 3 is underway. You should see those videos start to come out here soon, and again, all the descriptions for everything will be in, or everything that I do, my streams, my Discord server, all that will be down below. Check it out, and thanks for tuning in. This has been Week 2 of WWC recap of standings, transactions, and kill leaders.